Hello everyone, my name is Harvey Clark. Welcome to our presentation on intellectual disabilities. For the introduction, I have this video by an individual with Down syndrome explaining how low expectations can limit people with disabilities. So please keep this in mind when you're going through our presentation. Intellectual disability is when an individual has limited function in areas of cognitive and/or adaptive functioning. This includes things like Down syndrome, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, Prader-Willi syndrome, cerebral palsy, and many others. An individual's level of support needs may vary, but all people with intellectual disabilities need some level of accommodation or assistance.
Prevalence. According to data from the U.S. Department of Education, approximately 415,200 children between the ages of 6 and 21 were identified as intellectually disabled and receiving a special education during the 2013-2014 school year. On this slide, you can see a chart that was taken from the textbook showing the amount of children in the school year that got identified as intellectually disabled. Characteristics. There are certain characteristics that are from having intellectual disabilities. An individual will have both learning characteristics and social and behavioral characteristics. Some learning characteristics are attention, memory, academic performance, motivation, generalization, and language development. Some behavioral characteristics are interpersonal skills, socially appropriate interactions, and friendships.
Genetic conditions, complications during pregnancy, problems during birth, and exposure to toxic substances can be factors that contribute to intellectual disabilities. Some other factors can include head trauma, brain infection, brain tumors, and social and economic factors. Intellectual disability is diagnosed through a process called comprehensive assessment. Comprehensive assessments evaluates both intellectual and adaptive functioning. This also involves things like standardized testing, clinical observation, and assessment of adaptive behaviors.
Treatments for intellectual disability. Though there is no cure, there are some treatments people with intellectual disabilities can use to better their day-to-day lifestyle. Some of the treatments are therapy, self-care, various medications, behavioral and educational support, and vocational training. Treatment details. Therapy, special education, and different types of therapy to help them live their lives to the fullest. Self-care, physical exercise, and special education. Various medications. This can help with conditions that are related to or happen alongside intellectual disability. While these don't treat intellectual disability itself, they can help with some of the symptoms that may contribute. Behavioral and educational support. This can help with changes to educational programs and structure. An example of educational support with an individualized education plan, IEP, which creates a custom educational plan and expectations. These kind of interventions can also help with learning adaptive behaviors and related skills. Vocational training. This can help people with intellectual disabilities learn work-related skills. Teaching strategies. Effective methods to support students with intellectual disabilities in the classroom. Organization and structure. Establish routines and schedules. Collaboration and communication. Maintain open communication. Provide breaks. Incorporate regular breaks to help students refocus and manage energy levels. Promote inclusion. Create an environment where all students feel valued and respected. Be patient and flexible. Recognize the students' disabilities may require extra time and support.
Okay, here's a quick video that breaks down what an intellectual disability is, how it's identified, and why understanding it matters.
Did you know that your brain is the most important part of your body? Your brain is in charge of everything you do. Some people are born with brains that make it easier while harder to do other tasks. An intellectual disability is one example of a different brain. Intellectual means using your brain to think and learn. A disability is a difference or challenge that makes it harder to do certain things in life. Intellectual disabilities make it harder to learn and understand certain things. Intellectual disabilities are one of the most common brain differences people can be born with. About 3 out of every 100 people have an intellectual disability. It's a lifelong disability, and it is usually genetic or caused by a problem during pregnancy or birth. Doctors can notice an intellectual disability when a child is young. They may need some extra help in school. But people with intellectual disabilities also have lots of strengths, like a love for learning, honesty, fairness, and resilience. Remember, neurodiversity is a beautiful thing. It's important to be kind to everyone, no matter what their brain is like. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos.
So here are some additional facts. Up to 40% of the people with intellectual disabilities also have mental health issues, but often get missed because symptoms can look similar to their disability. This is called diagnostic overshadowing. An example of this is when a person with intellectual disability might start avoiding social situations or get really withdrawn. Some might blame it on their disability, but it might not always be that case. They might be dealing with anxiety or depression, and without careful assessment, the mental health issue might be missed. The second fact is that girls with intellectual disabilities are often undiagnosed. An example of this is autism in girls. Up to 80% of autistic girls remain undiagnosed by age of 18 because the autistic traits they display are often more subtle and often they mask their differences. Also, the existing diagnostic tools are based on male behavioral patterns, making it a bit more difficult to diagnose girls. And the last fact is that intellectual disabilities affect different skills in different people. So what this means is that intellectual disability isn't just about having trouble learning in school. It can be more complex. Some people with intellectual disabilities might find math or reading really hard, but they are super good at making friends and understanding how others feel, while some might be the opposite and might be great with numbers but find social situations confusing or tricky. When we talk about intellectual disability, we have to remember that it's not the same for everyone.